गुलजार साहब कैसे हैं आप?
वालेकुम सलाम। थैंक यू सो मच शायन।
नहीं ऑफ कोर्स रमजान मुबारक। कैसे जा रहे हैं आपके?
मुबारक, आपको भी मुबारक हो। लेट मी चेक। नहीं सर, बहुत सारे लोग हैं मगर हमारे गेस्ट में मैसेज किया था। कैन यू प्लीज ड्रॉप द मैसेज इन ग्रुप दैट दे शुड ज्वाइन
हाँ
एट
मैं कर
पीटर
देती हूँ।
या थैंक यू।
ग्रुप ये जो स्पीकर से ग्रुप है।
जी 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 जी। या वलेरिया, वलेरिया को तो मैं ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ। लेट्स सी वेयर इज द
आ गई। शीज हियर।
हाय।
Hi, how are you guys?
या
Hello.
गुड।
हेलो। हाउ आर यू?
थैंक यू
Good,
so
good.
much for joining.
Sorry?
Thank you so much for joining.
Oh no, thank you so much for organizing this. It's amazing.
Let me see Laurentia. Where is she? I think I should admit all. Then we should
या
start. Maybe she is with another name. There are so many participants, like more than 13, but I can't see her name. Maybe she has another name. Let me text her. Yeah, all right. Sure. She's not here. Yeah, Laurie's here. Hello.
Hi, Shahan. Hi, Valeria.
Thank you
Hi,
so
हेलो
much
Dr.
लॉरी, हाउ आर
Abdul.
यू?
for
Very good.
yeah.
How are you?
I
Good,
think
good,
we
good.
should start because we have 40 minutes and we are running out of time, so we should start. Thank you so much. Good day to everyone, and very warm welcome to all of you, especially our panelists who have spared their valuable time. And thank you so much to all the participants. And we can understand the level of excitement and anxiety because we have passed with the same stage exactly 1 year ago. Myself, Dr. Abdurazak, I am a Chevening Scholar for the year 2025-26. I am pursuing public and environmental health sciences from University of Birmingham. And I would like to request my panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Valeria.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and thank you so much for organizing this. My name is Valeria Morales. I'm a nutritionist from Peru, and I'm currently pursuing a master degree in international health at the University of Leeds. I'm also a Chevening Scholar 2025-26. I was selected on my second attempt as Chevening. The first time I knew about the scholarship one day before the deadline and I tried it anyway, but it really helped me doing that application for the next one. And well, in the second one I got the scholarship. And finally, um, for me, Chevening, it's not only about the masters, but also about the network it brings, because I think most of the Chevening scholars are leaders, are people who want to make a change. So engaging with people that have that same perspective was really valuable for me as well. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Now towards the Cheyenne.
Hello, everyone. How are you all? First of all, congratulations for this. So my name is Cheyenne. I'm currently pursuing public policy at the University of Edinburgh. And before that, I was working in the development sector back in Pakistan, where I worked on sexual and reproductive health and climate justice. I knew about Chevening since the eighth grade, so 2016. And I that's when I, just made it my aim to get the scholarship. And I got it on my second attempt. And for me, I was a very introverted person who was really, engulfed in her safety zones and her safe spaces. But Shivling really helped me break out of that shell and try new things. So not just like a professional achievement, it's also like a your year to make some personal changes and personal developments as well. So yeah.
Thank you. Now towards Laurentia.
Okay, so my name is Laurentia Adam Nkrumah. I am also a Chevening scholar, currently studying cross-cultural communications and international relations at Newcastle University. This is my first attempt, or this was my first attempt a year ago, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Beyond Chevening, I look forward to actually leveraging on my acquired skills here to supporting my country's diplomatic relations and also closely working with non-governmental organizations in supporting young people in deprived communities. So happy to be here and congratulations if you've made it this far.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, formally, we would like to start our session. I would like to request Valeria to provide tips on leadership, a leadership part of essay in an interview. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the leadership part. Well, first, if you're at this stage, you're already a leader. You're already doing and driving change. So congratulations for that. I think this part is one of the most important ones because as the Chevening is mission states, they want to find change makers. So this is an important part in the interview. But leadership, it's a broad concept, and I think Chevening really wants for you to understand not only what you have done, but how have you done it. So they already know by your essays what activities you have done, but they want to go more into detail to learn um, the leader, how you have been a leader. A question they asked me in my interview that is not a common question. I've never heard this question before, but they asked me, what type of leadership do you think you have? Like, what type of leader are you? And for me, it was like, what? But fortunately, that's something I question myself. And I think either they ask you this question or not, it's important that you know this part. What type of leadership do you want to do, want to provide? So I think here it comes really important. This, I don't know if you have seen this picture about the difference between a boss and a leader. So I think that's something we should also keep in mind because sometimes, well, a boss is someone who kind of delegates or gives stuff or just mandates what you have to do. But a leader, although it can also do this same role, like delegate and provide tasks and everything, it also shows you how to do it. It also stays by your side. It's not like a hierarchy, but it's more in a horizontal way. So I think that's something important. And also something that helped me is to see leadership in my field. I'm a nutritionist and I work in part of the food systems, nutrition and climate change nexus, and I work with indigenous people in my country, in the Amazon. So kind of seeing what leadership meant or what was the meaning of leadership for me in my arena or my background really helped me also to define what leadership meant and transmit that idea to the panel in the interview as well. So I will advise you that the first part when you're looking at your essays, because that's another tip also, you need to look at your essays because the interview is kind of going more in depth into your essays. So read your essays, see what you have written in the leadership part because it was already like 4 months ago that you wrote those essays. So it's important for you guys to revise them and see and really like see the thread how you did it. State every detail, state every activity you did. And I know it sometimes it's hard to talk with the I did this, I did that. For me it's really horrible because I'm always used to say we did, because usually it's a teamwork, most of the things we achieve. But among this teamwork, what was your role, what did you did? That's what they want to understand and that's what they want to know. So I think that's why I can say that question, What does leadership mean to me? What does leadership look in my field? And what kind of leader do I want to be? That's three questions I would ask myself for this part of the interview.
Thank you so much for the wonderful tips. And I would like to request Cheyenne to have some tips about the networking part of facing.
Right.
Right.
So I think there's an echo. Okay, wait, now it's gone. So one thing I'd like to just clarify to everyone is that they already like you. So you're 50% there. They just have to match the person who's written the essays with the person who's, sitting in front of them. So you just have to make sure that, as long as, these are your experiences, as long as you've written your essay, I think you're really good to go. When it comes to networking, the one major learning for me during the whole process was that all four essays flow like a story, right? So how does your networking help you expand or further expedite whatever mission you're working on? For example, my main, unique selling point was feminist climate justice. While I elaborated everything I've done in leadership feminist climate justice, I told them examples of networking for that particular, advocacy that I'm looking for, right? And at the same time, you have to make sure it's not just, a dialogue, like, they give you a question, you give that answer within networking. Make sure you have a personal anecdote within that networking. How was that, a personal mission for you? How was it just, something beyond that task that your boss asked you to do, or whatever, project you were working on, they asked you to do. So make sure your networking is personal to you. Make sure it's something that, don't make it sound like, oh, I was so passionate about this XYZ experience. That's why I network and I did this XYZ, right? Make sure it comes from a personal drive. Second of all, show impact through your networking. If you can show impact through numbers through your networking, I think that would be excellent. There's one thing, talking to people, getting a conference done, getting a workshop done. Okay, what result did your networking bring? How did any concrete, actionable things come out of it? Even if it's not concrete, sometimes in the development sector, it's really hard to give concrete KPIs. But did it bring any behavioral changes? Did it start a discourse? Did it just start a conversation in like 5 people, 10 people? To make sure that you show impact through your networking skills. For example, they asked me, how you deal with governmental stakeholders. How do you get in touch with them? It's very difficult back in Pakistan. So when I say personal anecdote, I told them that the chief staff officer of a minister was from the same university that I was from. And I'm from Qaid Azam University, and we call ourselves Qaitians. And we have the slogan, Qaitian once and Qaitians forever. That's what I told them, that I got in touch with another Qaitian who helped me connect with the minister. And that's how I use my network to have them come into that conference, talk to the participants over there, and reaffirm their commitment to climate justice in Pakistan. So not am I only adding to my mission, I'm also showing that I networked using my personal connections for a greater good. And I added like a personal anecdote in a story which makes things, a bit light as well. So that would be my advice to you. Show impact, show your personal drive in networking, and go beyond what you did. Also talk about actionable results that came from your networking.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the wonderful tips. Moving towards the Laurentia, the most important part of the Chevening interview, as far as my thinking is concerned, is your career plan. Because Chevening has seen you have judged you from your leadership and networking. That is your past. With that past experience, they have qualified your application. What means to them is your career plan, that what you want to see yourself and your country. So moving towards Laurentia, yes.
Okay. So I think Valeria and Shahan are already giving the framework for what they are expecting of you. And at this stage, you are already like 50%. So you just have to convince them that, hey, I deserve the scholarship. Now, when it comes to the career plan, for me, this is what worked for me. I stuck to a particular story. I connected all my career, my years of working together into one particular story. So for all the four essays, I broke them down. You have to write about leadership, you have to write networking, why study in the UK, and your career plan. So I have worked as a journalist before and then I pivoted into corporate communications. So I just made sure that my work as a journalist, as a corporate communication person, as a development person who works in communities, all linked together. So you are telling a story about you. That is why your essays, nobody can write it for you but yourself. Okay, so the panel wants to know, what are you best at, or what are you good at? What skills do you have that you're proud of, that you are willing to actually leverage on? And the next one is about your passion. In terms of your career, what are you passionate about? What change would you like to see in your home country? I identified a challenge with deprived communities in some part of my country where some girls, when they do not have menstrual hygiene products, they miss school, and that affects their education. These are tangible things. And I showed results by giving examples of me connecting with some friends to get, say, 200 packets of sanitary product to a particular school. And because of that, within a year, there were no absences recorded and there were evidences to show. So they need to know that indeed you know what you're talking about as far as your career plan is concerned. Now, you need to have a short term, a medium term, and a long term career plan. Know your goals. What do you want to do with the masters that you are coming to study in the UK? And convince them that, okay, I want to earn a master's in so and so. I want to earn a master's in nutrition. This is what I want to use this master's for. So what qualifications do you already have? I have a BA in this. Now, this master's in the UK, this is what is going to do for me in the long term. Medium term, this is how the roles I'm going to be pursuing. And then the long term, this is the impact I hope to see. And while speaking about this, you are giving tangible examples. Mind you, you're not just going to give any goal at all. You're going to give smart goals because they should be realistic. They need to be also time bound. They need to be attainable. Don't go and be giving vague examples. Oh, I want to help my country. How? I want to help women in this community. How? What kind of help? How many people will benefit from you? So those fall under your short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan. So if you are passionate about fighting climate change, or you're good in mathematics or something, in the long term or in the medium term, when you graduate, okay, you want to get a training contract with a particular company that is pushing towards sustainable projects. That can be your medium-term goal. In the long term, I want to work with my government carrying out sustainable urban development goals. That is my long term. And so there's always a link between your skills and your passion. And that way you convince the panel that you know what you're talking about. And after your master's, your country is going to benefit from you. So I'll just leave from here for now. And then as the questions come on, we'll answer.
Thank you so much, Laurentia. We have received a lot of questions. We have previously also, I have a lot of questions from the previous session. So I think we should start with the questions. Question one, yeah. This is about the networking. Yeah, how you will engage with alumni professionally after coming back to your country. Moving towards Shan.
Yeah. Okay. So with this, first you'd have to, categorize what sort of alumni do you want to connect with. For example, when I go back to Pakistan, I don't want to get into academia. I want to go back to the development sector, right? So I will connect with them because of that. LinkedIn is your best friend. I reached out to every Chevening scholar during my, interview process to get help from them. I will reach out through past alumni when I go back through LinkedIn. Second of all, there are a lot of alumni networks at global levels, at local levels, and national levels. For example, there's a Pakistan Global Alumni Network. I'm part of that. It's a huge platform. It has alumni from different UK, US universities from all over the world, and it's all Pakistani alumni over there. So I'm part of that platform. I actively engage in their activities. I'm part of the working in thematic groups as well. They're also having a session in London as well. So for this, you would have to do your research. Who do you want to connect with? Why do you want to connect with? Look for platforms. There are always platforms out there that will help you make that connections. So number one, LinkedIn, and then Google. Then filter out who and why you want to do it. So I think that's my very short answer for it. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Second question is, can we change our university? All three choices. Yeah, you can change your university in course, but your course should be related with your application courses. Like it should not be completely different, and you should have a proper rationale for that. Like for my case, I selected in my application, it was about the UCL, University College London, and but I changed to the University of Birmingham. Then they asked why you have changed. The course is same. Then I said that they were charging me like 50 to 100 pounds for just an application. So that makes sense to them. They said okay, yeah. And for the course selection, I would like to suggest you that you should have like for particular you should have a proper research for that course. You can't say that this is my career plan and this is the course. You should mention that I have this skill this course will fill my this research skill gap. I have you can't say that I am completely expert in this particular field. So you should have a research for your course selection, and you should mention that I have checked all the modules and they are properly engaged with my career plan and with my past experience. So yeah. Another question is like STAR. Can we use the STAR approach in both leadership and networking for the answers towards Valeria?
And sorry, I wrote that. I wrote that you should like in the
Yeah,
interview
yeah,
you should address your approach. It's not a question. Sorry.
yeah. You can mention. Can we write or not? Can we mention it?
I mean, not mention it, but kind of follow the structure. I mean, you can start like doing the situation. You don't have to say, I'm going to do the STAR approach and start talking. Just kind of have a layout because the STAR approach, more than like for me, it's a way to organize my ideas and make sure I'm not forgetting anything to say. As also Lori said, the results is the most important part of what you are saying, but also, okay, in what context, what did you do, your role, what did you do, and what did you achieve? So it's important that in both examples you kind of focus that your answer in following that structure so you make sure you don't miss anything.
Yeah. Could you
And,
please
and
advise
if I
me
can
on how best to address these issues in my UK university applications? I don't have academic or professional references. Yeah, he says I don't have academic or professional references. I graduated about 10 years ago, 5 years of work experience, but post that I have a 6 years employment gap. So could you please advise me on how best to address this issue in my UK university applications? For the references, he's asking Laurentia.
Okay, so here is what worked for me. I also had an employment gap of 5 years in my CV or in my application. But then I justified it to mean that, okay, at the time I was in school. But then whilst in school, I was doing other things, which was impact based. So there was evidence to show that this is what I was doing. If you should be able to find someone to be a reference for you, even if you've not worked in 10 years, somebody who knows you and can actually vouch for you. It should be easier. It doesn't matter if they've known you for the past 10 years. For me, I knew somebody who I worked with in 2012, and that's the reference I used. It wasn't an issue. It's also about how you defend it. It's also about how you tell your story. So the panel wouldn't be so hard on you as far as your reference is concerned. I had a career gap of 5 years, but I had to tell them the truth that this is why I had that gap. Yeah.
Yeah, another question is also related to the career plan, that he's saying that my past experience is different and my master's, which I'm going to pursue in UK, is also different. And the impact is also different. How should I manage this situation? How should I synchronize this situation? That's entirely that looks different.
So if I get it correctly, what
Yeah.
you are doing is different. What you intend to do in the UK is different. So for example, practically, maybe you were doing something related to media and now you want to do law.
Yeah.
Is that the
He
case?
says that I have studied finance and worked in banking, and now I'm pursuing the climate finance and policy. They are much more similar, like climate finance and policy
Yeah.
is related to your finance.
You have to draw the link. So why? They need to know why. Why? And how is this going to benefit you as a scholar and your home country? Because Chevening is big on you returning and making impact. So they want to know why. I don't know, Valeria, you want to add that to that as well?
Just wanted to say that I've heard cases where people shift their career path and get the scholarship as well. So if you have been in, like, what experience from your banking experience make you want to do this shift? Why you want to go to climate finance and policy? For example, I don't have any policy experience, but I chose this master because it included policy because I want to start diving into policy. So if I and I justified it like because of what I've learned, of what I have seen. So you need to justify this change. I think it's okay because maybe many people study masters because they want to focus on something different and want to learn something different as well. So don't be afraid by that. And if you already got the interview, I think they kind of saw the link in your essays. So you just need to explain a little bit more from your experience and what led you to this change. That's it.
Yeah, we have another question that if they are asking about the leadership or networking examples, can we tell them a new example rather than those mentioned in their application? For me, it's a big no. I'm
Okay, so as long as your example is related to what you've done, and it's adding on to your experience. For example, for networking, they talked about how you've networked with other applicants or other stakeholders. Sorry, not applicants. And after I submitted the application, I was a delegate for COP29. So it was related to climate justice, it was related to advocacy. So it only added on to my experiences of networking. I told them that I was there, I was part of the delegation. I managed to, network with the Commonwealth Secretariat and the Pakistan Secretariat, and we were able to have a panel discussion. So it only added to my experience, it only made my application stronger. So if and only if I believe your example is adding to it, it's making you look stronger, it's making your application stronger, only then add it. Otherwise, I would say your essay is your rubric. It's your way to ace this interview.
Valeria, any thoughts on it?
Same. It depends. I think you need to be really quick and understand the question they're saying. So and you think there's a thing that can add, but not like because I want to like something new that happened between you when you wrote your essays and the interview. If not, just stick with your examples. I think you chose those examples because they are the stronger ones and stick to those. As you said, they are the rubric to this.
Another question is related to the career plan. They're asking that what if you would not get selected? How you will continue creating the impact? For example, my domain is women health. Lori, towards
Can you repeat the question again?
what if you will not selected, and how you will continue creating the impact? For example, my domain is women health.
If you're not selected as a scholar, is
Yeah,
that the case?
yeah,
So life goes on, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to these scholarships, there are two things involved. You're either accepted or you're not. We met someone in London during our orientation, someone in London who applied for 7 times. Seven, that is 7 years in succession until they were finally accepted. So it's just about you owning your journey. And if you've come this far and have been asked to schedule an interview, it means that you've done something that the panel is very much in support with. And like Valeria said, Valeria and Sharon have said, you have to know your essays. For me, what helped me was that I recorded my essays and I played it back to myself every day to know exactly what I was trying to say. That way, I have it at the back of my mind. And the questions will not be as direct as what is in your essay. The first question they usually would ask is, tell us about yourself. Now, that tell us about yourself is where you set the tone. Because when you flop from tell us about yourself, that you might miss convincing the panel. So immediately you don't tell them your age and your name. They already know that. Tell them who you are. Tell them about your career, what you have done. Throw in some numbers, the impact. The first 1 minute, when you get that hook, then you can build on your story from there. For me, that's what helped. And I believe that when you ace that, you're good to go.
Yeah. Another query is I have not received any offer from my university, although I am selected. Will it hurt my chances for the success of interview? Anyone can respond. I think no.
No,
Will
it
be given
not really doesn't, yeah.
a lot of time. Another query is from Hamza. Hamza, we have replied like he said that if is it professional to change the course, mentioning it in the in the interview. Yes, it can be professional or unprofessional approach. Professional in sense if you are changing the course and that's similar to the course which is mentioned in your application, and if it will be unprofessional if you will change the course and that's entirely different from your application. I hope that makes sense.
I also want to highlight that this year it's different because for us we in our essay we explained our three
Three
choices
choices. Yeah.
of universities, and this year you only explain one,
Yeah.
your top one. So
Top.
I would say that I would be really think twice or have a really valid reason why to change your first course, because at the end they don't really know, and they're going to get to know in this interview why you chose the other two. So, for example, I didn't change university, I changed positions, like my first choice swapped. And I explained it because I already had made networking. I knew a professor here in Leeds, and that's why Leeds became my first choice, and etc. That's what was my reason, and it makes sense for them. But they already knew, like because it was in my essay. In your case, they don't know. So make sure that you are going to explain when they ask you about the universities and your courses, to explain well, and for the one that you wanted to be your top choice, if you are changing it, explain, I want to go to, I don't know, UCL because I want to, because of this the program has this. So I would change my option if I really have a strong reason to change it, because otherwise when you feel if you are awarded the scholarship, you can choose any of the three choices at the end. So don't worry about that part. But make sure take into consideration that this format is different, so you'll have a bigger role on explaining the courses you want in this interview.
Yeah. We have a question that contains a lot of questions. Can you guys give the example of questions, frequently asked questions in your interviews? What frequently asked questions are asked in interview? Just mention, like in leadership, what sort of questions will be asked, for example?
First of all, I think they'll reiterate the essay questions and how you answer. They do ask follow-ups from that. They will the one thing I saw was that they did ask any challenges that I faced in leadership. For example, I was working in rural parts of Pakistan. They did ask how I connected with young girls, how was I able to make an impact as a leader, talking about menstrual health in Balochistan. That's a very rural province in Pakistan. So they will definitely, I feel like that I've seen with my friends as well, they do ask about the challenges that you might face as a leader. They will ask about any hurdles you faced in networking, and they will ask that what if your midterm, short term, or long term, either of them, if it doesn't go well, what will you do? What's plan A, B, C? Depending on the time you give them. So, side questions like this.
Yeah, Lori, what sort of questions they can ask in career plan? Just frequently asked questions. What can
So
be
some of the common or frequently asked questions will be that, why Chevening? Why have you chosen Chevening? And you need to explain why the scholarship and not other scholarships. The other question will be why your chosen university or universities, because ideally you would have chosen 3. Why the UK? That's another common question. And then on your leadership, networking, or career plan, they'll tell us about a time where you use your leadership experience. That is also one. And then how will you make impact on your return home? I just listed them together because these are questions they asked me. And then how will you use your Chevening network? Because Chevening is big on networking, is big on engaging with people from other countries. So how are you going to use this network that you have built in the UK? And what will you do if you don't get the Chevening? It's another question that they asked me. When they asked me, I said, life goes on. I'll go back to doing whatever I'm doing. So these are some of the basic questions they would usually ask.
What are your thoughts about leadership, Valeria?
Sorry, the part of the leadership.
Yeah.
What
What do
was
you
the
think?
exactly the question?
They are saying that what frequently asked questions can be.
Okay. In my case, it was really weird because I think like the only question about leadership they used the word leadership was the one I said of what do you think is your leadership style? But the other questions were what was a challenge you faced? Also, they told me what was an opportunity for you to create something, and I was like, and something that I think also many people in the leadership part, along other scholars I've heard, they ask them directly, give us a leadership example or give us a
Yeah.
leadership. Yeah, for me it was like, how did you create something? How do you? Another question was how do you collaborate um with others to create something? That was the question. So it was kind of a network. I wasn't sure if it was a networking, not leadership question. I kind of mixed an example, but yes, be prepared for them to not give you questions that explicitly say leadership or explicitly say networking, but you need to make sure you explain in your answers while you're talking a leadership example, a networking example, explain your courses, and explain the why the UK. And sorry, and your career plan, the fourth. Yes, I think those are the most common questions in leadership. Also, I've heard one also having a role model. Who's your role model in leadership? I haven't been asked that, but I've heard people that they've been asked and they didn't know. So probably someone that's a role model, and also someone from the UK, do you consider a leader? So a little bit of research there if you don't have someone from the UK you consider a leader.
Great. Yeah, I would suggest that you should give some time for the follow-up questions rather than you are speaking on your examples. You should give them the space or time for the follow-up questions. Like in my case, they just told me that you have like 20 minutes for the four parts of the questions. So 5 minutes for the leadership, 5 minutes for the networking, 5 minutes for why UK, and 5 minutes for the career plan. So whatsoever the questions they were asking, I was replying to the point and was giving time to them that they should ask the follow-up questions, because with the follow-up question they will be able to extract you, because so many things you can leave with your examples. So it's my advice that you should give them the space or time for the follow-up questions. Yeah. And we are running of time, like we have only 1 minute to go. We would like to take last question. Yeah. Yeah. There's a question that if they're asking us that if do you have any question, then let us know. Then what sort of question we can ask from them? What sort of question we can ask from the panel of Chevening Interview? What would you say?